Years ago, when I started investing in crypto, I had a rule in mind to never invest in any cryptocurrency that doesn't have a big community support behind it. And today's coin has that. A few days ago, I posted a poll on Twitter and Instagram asking the community about the next cryptocurrency I should analyze. And Digibyte won by a great margin. But are the charts as exciting as Digibyte community is? That's what we'll see in today's video. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is King, a full-time trader and investor, and today's video is not meant to be any kind of financial advice, and it's for pure educational purposes only. Unlike a lot of other YouTube channels, I don't promise you that you'll get rich or you'll achieve massive gains. I'm a technical analyst, and what I do over here is analyzing the market in a logical and educated way in order to help you understand how is the market functioning and what are the possibilities for the next moves. My channel is still young and really needs your support. So if it's your first time here and you like my content, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button. The more you do it, the more I'll be able to give you content like that. I'm also running a contest on social media where I'll be giving 3 lucky winners a chance to win $5,000 each. If you want to know the details, make sure to follow me on Twitter or Instagram. And now let's go to the charts and see what they are holding. So unlike most of my videos, today I'll be starting with BTC pair chart and explain to you multiple signals which makes me believe that Digibyte has massive potential that haven't been unlocked yet. The first one is over here on the Digibyte Bitcoin monthly chart. And this has to do with my custom oscillator over here. As you can see, the Digibyte is outside the overbought area. And right at this point and at this time, I can confidently tell you that this is something very rare in this bull market. Because if you have seen any of my previous videos or you have been analyzing the charts yourself, you will notice that most of the cryptocurrencies, if not all of them, are in the overbought area on the monthly chart. And if this tells us one thing, it says that Digibyte has a lot of room to growth and massive potential on the monthly chart, because this gap over here between where the oscillator is and the overbought area can do wonders when it comes to the price on the chart. And moving from this point to the overbought area might mean moving all the way to retesting the previous all-time high. Now as for the weekly chart, it's pretty similar to the monthly chart, so let us move on to the daily Digibyte Bitcoin chart and see what it's holding. On the daily chart, as I highlighted over here, the price has been trading in a range for almost a year right now, since April 2020 until this point. And usually trading in a range in such a low price point means that there is a lot of accumulation happening in this area in preparation for a more uptrend or another impulse upward. Now if we take a closer look over here, we'll find that the price has formed a higher low here versus the previous low, which was over here. And as I always tell you, this is the first sign of reversal. But it's not enough because it has to be followed by another higher high. Now unfortunately the price has failed to print a higher high over here and drop down. However, I do believe that this piece over here is not complete yet. And if Bitcoin regains its strength from the coming month onwards and starts trending up, we're likely to see the price continuing up from here, breaking this top and heading to new highs. Now the good thing about this scenario, if it happens, that once the price breaks this resistance area in this yellow box over here, this is a strong resistance area because it has been retested 4 times so far. So if the price breaks this area over here, it will literally have not much resistance to hold it after breaking this level, because historically we had no multiple point resistance areas over here that could hold the price if it happens to break this level and continue going up. So there is nothing much to hold the price after this point over here. And here are all my thoughts of why I believe that Digibyte has big potential to unlock in the coming weeks or months. And now let us move to the USDT pairs on the daily chart and analyze the structures over there. On the daily chart, the price has formed what I believe to be a 5-wave long-term structure. This structure started last year around March, where it had its first leg up, the first impulse, and then it had a 3-wave correction over here. And upon the completion of this correction, it had another impulse up from the beginning of this year onwards, along with the overall crypto market movement. And now at this point, we are at the second correction and the 4th wave of the overall structure. Looking at the current corrective structure that we have right now, this is an expanding flat that consists of 3 waves, where the first wave is a small one, then another corrective wave, and another 3rd wave down that breaks the previous low. Generally speaking, the first and the second wave of this structure are complete, and the 3rd wave is in the making right now. But the important question remains here: is the 3rd and the last wave of this big correction finished or not? Now, before telling you if it's finished or not, let us go back in history to the previous correction over here. If you look closely at this correction, this one consisted of 3 waves as well. 1, 2, and 3. If you notice, the last leg of this 3-wave correction, which was similar to this one, it ended up being an extended wave that took some time to finish and consolidated for a little bit. This makes the probability of us getting something similar at this point over here higher. However, this does not mean that we are going to get a 6 or 7 month correction or consolidation like this one, but we are likely to see some consolidation around this point. So we might see a little bit of up and down over here around this area until at some point we touch the trend line, which has been a very strong historical support that have been retested twice or maybe 3 times before. And then at some point over here we start seeing a gradual increase in price until at some point we start making stronger impulses and go up. Now, what makes me believe that this scenario is the one that's going to happen, in other words, that we are going to get one more impulse upwards for Digibyte, is because we don't have divergence between the first wave and the second wave on MACD. This means usually in 90% of the cases that we are more likely to get a 5-wave structure. And out of the 5 waves over here, we have already 4 waves complete: W, X, Y, and X. And we still have one last wave to form. Now, how far this wave is going to go, I'm sure you already know by now that I don't set any targets, but I try to look at possibilities. So if we try to look at the history of this structure and try to compare it or use it to base our forecast over here, the first impulse up was a 60-day impulse, and it had a growth about 1,500%. The second impulse up from here, or let's say some people would argue that this have gone all the way to here, it was 171 days impulse and had on average 857% growth in price. So if we take an average between these two, something in the middle, let's say, so we might be looking at a 100-day next impulse, more or less, and somewhere between, let's say, 800 and 1,200% in growth. So the next impulse might end up somewhere in September and achieve around 1,000% of growth, more or less. Now, this is not a financial advice and this is not a forecast, but I'm telling you what are the possibilities and how do we usually judge pieces like this. So this scenario can happen or maybe not, but I'm doing all this for the purpose of forecasting only and trying to understand where could the next impulse takes us from here. Now, there's a very important point right here, and that's, I always tell you, stay open for possibilities. And someone might ask me over here, is there a possibility of us not having a new impulse or a fifth wave and dropping down from here? Never say never. The chances always exist. However, in my history of trading, I've never seen a structure like that, because if we end up breaking this trend line and going down from here, that's going to be a very complicated structure that have never happened before. So is there a chance? The answer to this is yes. How likely it is? I would say it almost has a very thin and tiny chance, or almost no chance, but stay open for possibilities. So as you can see, the picture for Digibyte generally is very healthy and very promising, with decent potential for the month and weeks to come. However, I have one small concern on the DGB USD chart on the monthly time frame, and this concern is this red candle over here. This is the candle of the current month that we are in, the month of May. And my problem with this candle is, as it stands right now, this is an engulfing bearish candle. There is a little bit more than a day left in this month. And if nothing happens during this day, if the price doesn't go up further from here, this candle will end up closing as an engulfing bearish candle. And unfortunately, usually this candle is a sign of reversal, a bearish reversal. So we've been trending up. If this ends up closing like this, it's a sign of reversal down. Now, does this mean that we have no chances at all? Of course not, because I told you the picture generally looks very good, but this is the only concern of mine. Now, from now till tomorrow, if it ends up closing around the opening of April or above it, now that's going to invalidate this full scenario. That's number one. We also have another scenario. Even if it ends up closing bearish engulfing candle, if the next month candle ends up being a green bullish candle that will close also around the opening of April price or a little bit above, that will change the whole picture, because it will print a candlestick scenario that usually is a reference for a trend continuation. And to be honest, I'm more lenient towards this scenario to happen, because if we get a small green candle in here, that will confirm the possibility that I talked about on the daily chart, which was consolidating over here before continuing up. So if we end up consolidating till, let's say, the beginning of July, where the next month candle is going to be, so if we go up and down and up and down and up till this point over here, that's going to be a small bullish candle on the monthly chart, and that will validate my theory over here, and then the trend will continue. But aside from that, we have nothing else to be concerned or worried about. So I would like to hear your opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and also tell me if there's another project or another coin that you want me to take a look at. Please also let me know in the comments below. And I want to remind you that I'm running a contest on social media right now, where I'm giving 3 lucky winners a chance to win $5,000 each. So if you're not following me on Instagram or Twitter, go check it out right now. You'll find the links below in the description box, and you will find all the details about the contest that I'm running. Thank you for sticking till the end, and this is it for today's video. And until next time, stay safe and see you later.